All right, here we go. The talent tank from Lasertown. And today, right now, this moment in time, we have David Hartman, the 4874 driver, sitting down with me, getting in. We're going to get into his brain here for the next 30 minutes, and we'll see what kind of clips we can get out of him. David, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So what I know about you is you grew up in Illinois.
Midwest boy.
But then you moved to Florida and opened up a bunch of clubs, a bunch of bars. You ran the bar scene in Florida.
I did for a little while.
Where was that?
It was in Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yep. Sorry.
So just north of Miami.
Yes,
so
sir.
No South Beach.
No, I don't like that place.
So your place, they had to be fully clothed.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale is kind of like a little bit Midwesty, normal people. Come on vacation, leave on probation. You know, that kind of place.
But you hail out of Grand Junction, Colorado today, though.
I do.
What made you move from, Illinois to Florida, the beaches, to end up all the way up in the Mesa?
A lot of it was racing. When I was down south, I really wanted to be doing this, and wife and I kind of made it work. We love the mountains. We love it out. Just Colorado in general, our lifestyle. We snowboard, mountain bike. Every season, we got some sport we enjoy, and Colorado was just a place for us.
Yeah, there's a lot to do there.
There is.
So right here today behind us, we've got your brand new 4874 Jimmy's car.
Yes.
Randy and company got it done in time?
They did.
Any issues?
No, not really anything. It's honestly scary solid right now, so...
No, we won't jinx it. I'll knock on some wood there. But you had some contingency plans. Anytime you're going to roll out with a new car.
Yeah, I did. I was lucky enough to sell my old car to my co-driver, Jake, and great guy. And he said, I'm not even going to take the stickers off of it until after Hammers in case you need it. So he brought it still ready for me to roll if we really need it. So I owe him a huge bit for that backup plan.
So let me get this right. So you hedged. You completely hedged this.
Yeah. Well, I knew the car would be done, but it was going to be tight time-wise. And I got it home and got about 2 or 3 hours on it, small prep, and put it on the trailer and came out here and been running it for 2 days. And got to say, she's bad. It makes the old car feel like a slug. So.
Well, I think that's a real story in the sense that you're really, anything can go right, anything can go wrong, that you knew you're bringing out a new car. I mean, we've seen guys like Lauren Healy come out in the past with a new car and end up driving the backup car, which would be the old car.
Yeah.
So I think, that's a reality. And it's cool to see that you actually had a backup plan. So many people don't end up having a backup plan. Then you see their name on the sheet, then you see them scratched.
It was fortunate enough to go to, Jay and I have raced together for about a year and a half now, podiumed every single race we've been in the car together on. So it's a real team effort. He's a great friend and awesome co-driver. He's going to be fast on the East Coast with that car. I'm happy to see it go out there. I don't want to ever see it pass me. So
you mentioned team effort, and that said about team effort, you actually, if I understood right, Jay is running representing all of your sponsors for this week as well.
Yes, we had some crossover people. When he purchased the car, Yokohama Ultra, Titan, a lot of the names that were on that car actually passed over to him to get a little bit of support.
That's pretty cool. Maybe that's how...
You wouldn't do that for anybody.
You just wouldn't do that for anybody?
Yeah.
But I think maybe that's an alternative when you're trying to sell cars today that, to new guys coming into the sport, we're not all Shannon Campbell's or...
And to me, I kind of thought with that, after doing it to him, I'm like, man, that's not a bad idea when you're letting something go to reach out to your sponsors and just say, hey, I'm selling my car. What can you do for the next guy? And add it into the value of it, because there's definitely a value behind having connections already on it, not having to go through and buy everything new that's already working.
So we're talking about value.
Mm-hmm.
I threw out hedge earlier.
Uh-oh.
Your business, I've been asked, hey, who's this new guy? You've been in ULTRA4 for about 2 years.
Yep.
And I have a funny story about that. When you brought out your car last time, when it was brand new, you went to go tune with King. You were tuning with the Rebay, and I was tuning with my pre-runner at the same time. and I actually passed you. My crew cab passed you, and I was like, "What am I doing passing this guy in this this Ultra 4 car, this beautiful Jimmy's car?" And then come to find out that it was, as you parked, I was parking. Mike Seward gets out. He's a Texas guy that had moved out to Cortez to go work for Randy and company there at Jimmy's 4x4. He gets out, and we both just lost it laughing. Hugs and kisses and all that. Patting each other's asses like. Man, good to see you. Like, I hadn't seen him yet that weekend.
Mike was the OG co-driver. I got to give him a ton of credit because the first time I drove that car was here on the link bed right before I'm running Hammers, a race I'd never pre-run, never been here. I never set foot in Johnson Valley. And it's the first time I drove the Ultra 4 car was that race. And I got about 20 minutes of seat time. We lost a transmission seal, or the trans, and then we lost a main seal. We had a little bit too much oil in it. It was one of those
overfilled.
Yep, and then we got all that fixed and went out and did pretty good. So, but yeah, Mike had the courage to get in a car with a guy who had zero experience and co-drive Hammers with me. So he that's the OG co-driver number one for me.
But he's insane. I mean, and he came from co-driving for a guy named Carl Langerhans, and if he could co-drive for Carl, he could co-drive for anybody.
I got put in that little circle that year with those guys. Awesome people.
Oh, aren't they?
Carl, Carey, that whole group's great people.
Salt of the earth.
Yes, sir.
What made you gravitate to Ultra 4 racing? How did you get in?
Well, when I was younger, I raced motocross, and the toll that takes on you. And then I was looking at desert stuff, Class 10. Just it was going to take a lot of resources to really go that direction. And then I looked at this and called Randy and was talking to him about actually a trail car. And then my trail car turned into a podium, and then my podium turned into a Podium R. Then it turned into about $40,000 later, we had the old gray car. And that car was just phenomenal. It finished every race we ran except that first KOH, so it's been an awesome car.
And, I mean, you have had quite a few podiums.
Yep.
And you finished very well in the national points 2 years ago. Your rookie season 2 years ago, where'd you finish?
I was second on the West Coast, fourth in the nation my rookie year, and then
same for last
year
too.
With a lot harder races. So going down, Mexico, Ridgecrest, all that, and I podiumed every single regional race last year. So
that's an outstanding number.
Yeah.
Like,
we were super proud of that.
So you've really set the bar high for yourself this year.
Scary. Yep.
I have full faith in you. We jumped off a topic there for a second. I talked about the value in hedging, and people always ask me about, hey, what does this guy do? And I took that and said immediately, what made you get into this? So I kind of went off track myself. But what do you do? What does David Hartman do to allow you to come out here as much as you do about your? I know you're married. I know you have kids that allow you to walk away and spend all that time on the road and all that time prepping.
Well, for work, it started off, when I got out of those bars, I started working for a hedge fund as their head of acquisitions. So I was buying houses all over the state of Florida, Georgia with them, and kind of led me to developing my own business model. And whenever they had spent their $1 billion, I started my own little private equity fund with all the connections I had, just buying houses the same way I was and then selling them to other investors. So it's just like a small private equity fund. I flip about 60 houses a year in Atlanta.
And so you're still doing that currently?
Yes, I am. I got an awesome business partner there who's been with me for probably 10 years, and I'm more the money financial end of it. I call myself kind of a venture capitalist now. I'll invest in other people's small businesses, things like that.
So I saw, based on that, I did see something recently that you and another very well-known Ultra 4 racer, Nick Nelson, have partnered up on a business.
Yeah, we were starting a construction company kind of in St. George, Utah. Going to be doing some building there. A lot of excavation work right now because it's where the money is. Doing that, pools in the Vegas area. But, yep, just...
That's cool to see Nick.
Digging holes. Yep.
Nick is such a hard worker.
Oh, man, he's awesome. He's one of my best friends. And, I don't go into business with anybody, but guys like that, you can put your money behind and everything else. They're just great people.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that.
Yep.
Is he racing the T1 race on Thursday?
He is. He'll be here. He's actually pitting in my pit. He'll be here Monday. morning with the TT. I was just down at the shop on the way here, and she's mean. She's ready to go. He's chomping at the bits to come out and get after it. So
yeah, he just came back in from doing that that event in Saudi Arabia with that truck, and oh man, they were killing it out there.
He's a phenomenal driver.
I think it's
got to get parts that can live up to him, right?
Well, you said it. No, I mean, Nick is always somebody to watch, but I mean, you yourself though, I don't want to take the light away from you. You know, shining the light on David Hartman here. 2 years, you've been killing it. Second nationals, fourth in the nation, 2 years in a row. King of the Hammers right now. You guys finished very well last year.
Yep.
And I think you're looking to back that up.
To me, the bragging rights is the West Coast now. You know, we're racing 200-mile races with 30 other guys. It's not East Coast racing, 50 miles in the woods with about 4 other cars.
In mud.
And, yeah, I don't mind mud, but I like racing a bunch of people, and that's why I just gravitate towards the West Coast stuff. I like the longer endurance-style races and having a lot of guys out there.
Do you think that is, an issue with the future of ULTRA4 in the series?
I mean, in a sense, but I like Casey. He's an East Coast guy. He's one of the best drivers there is. I can't fault him for racing where he lives.
We're talking about Casey Gilbert.
Yeah, Casey. We've had that phone call once or twice. He said, "Man, I just feel bad." I'm like, "Hey, man, it's where you live. If I lived on the East Coast, I'd be doing the same thing." So it's not feasible for everybody to go all the way across the country to race 4,800. So I get it.
No, yeah. I drove out here from Houston, and I mean, when you leave on one calendar day and you arrive 3 calendar days later, it's. I left. I leave Thursday evening, and I rolled in here this morning. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was on the road. I mean, it was only 26 hours or so, but it was just ridiculous.
That's part of where we got lucky with where we live too, because every race is between 11 and 14 hours.
That's a good sweet spot.
Yep.
I mean, you're under 1,000 miles.
Yep.
So tell me about Jimmy's 4x4. How awesome has it been to be taken in and under the arm, under the wing of the Jimmy's Army? Man,
Randy's been phenomenal. From day one, I remember sitting down at his desk, and he reminds me of this every 5 minutes. But he's like, we sit down. He's like, I just believe in you. And this is the first time I really met him. I said, you're going to do good. You just got the right personality. You remind me of somebody. And he just kind of left it at that. And now he likes to bring that up quite a bit, that we found success. But all in all, he's just always been there for me, and he's a big part of why I'm successful.
No, that's from the outside looking in. That's what it has really appeared. Not that you wouldn't stand on your own, but it's really cool when you can go in with a plan and then have such an immediate support network. It's, I don't know. I say this about kids like going into college. When you go into college, joining the fraternity system is you end up with 100 ready-made friends on day one.
Yeah.
That social circle and what that does for your studying and setting the pace for what you're going to do those years of college, you just get jump-started right off the bat. And so when you go into like a program like Jimmy's and you grab a car from him.
I'd say a lot of that relationship just comes down to, like, I walk into the shop and I treat those guys just like anybody else. There's no, I'm a racer. It's just, we're all buddies, get along with everybody, try and take care of them. Cade and I have become really close too, so it's fun having a little brother kind of figure. I'm the oldest of 3 boys, so take out a little lack of having my brothers around on him for sure. And vice versa. We banter a lot.
I love it.
That's my buddy.
And there's one thing that you do, David, that I followed you on social media that actually I'm really floored by. I'm really curious about. And you kind of probably know where I'm going with this because I asked you about the first thing I asked you about when I saw you today. So you built one of those little aluminum boats that, I say little aluminum, it sounds like a toy, but it's like a 2-person jet ski that you sit down the hole, and it's jet ski powered though, right?
It is the rock crawler of the water.
So it's slow? It's not slow.
No, it's actually it's just a 12-foot Jetstream Boats makes them out of Canada. We had 4 of them imported. One for Cody here at Laser Nut, Nick Nelson, myself, and another racer, Mike London. We all got them, and it's got a 260 horsepower, 1800 cc supercharged Sea-Doo motor in about a 700-pound hull that has 1/4 inch aluminum belly and 3/8 UHMW under that. So
you call it like a rock crawler? No, it's a razor. It's a side by side for the water.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it's meant to like hit boulders, jump off of things. We got a section called in Glenwood Canyon, Colorado. We're gonna run that's got like some about 8-foot waterfalls and things like that, and they'll go up them.
That would be cool to run down the Colorado River from your place and go. Yep. Can you get to Moab from you?
I can actually leave my back door and be in Moab in 1 hour by that boat, faster than I can drive.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
So how close to a bar in Moab? Could you truly go bar hopping from your house down to Moab and back?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Depends on the time of year and the current coming home. We might have to have a trailer there, but could probably make it happen.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, yeah, if you did it in the late spring, you'd have the melt.
I'm looking forward to the melt. It's going to be fun.
So you could go downstream fast, though.
Yeah, they'll go about 65, and 65 downstream. I mean, in one of those little boats, it feels like you're doing 150. So, new project. We're really looking forward to getting out and film. Actually, some of the sponsors are going to do a film with us this spring when they're down for Easter Safari. So we got some sneaky little things in the work that are going to be some good film.
So you really do have a bunch adding up here for 2020.
Yeah. Lots of small fun projects, lifestyle stuff, you know.
We'll be following you.
All right.
Hey, what's your Instagram on there?
David Hartman 4874, and it's Hartman Racing Inc. or David Hartman on Facebook.
All right. So we've briefly bumped up on this new car, this 4874 car, David. Talk me through some of the major improvements this car has over that car that you sold to Jay.
All right. I'd say the biggest changes has leading arm, so it's got leading arm, trailing arm, and it has a gob of front travel. It has almost 5 inches more front travel than the old car, and it's all up travel. I think for any solid axle car, it probably has the most up travel out of any solid axle car I've ever seen.
Well, in looking at it, if you guys see it in the background, all that gap over the top of the front tires, over the top of that front axle, it looks like it can kill some stuff, like really eat some stuff up.
It is a whoop slayer.
And then I noticed the engine looks a lot lower and a lot further back from other Jimmy's cars I've seen in the past.
Yep, it's about 2 inches lower, 4 inches back. And one of the big changes on this one is we went, instead of running, like I was running Hero case before, we went to Magnum box and an SCS. So
so it's a single speed case?
We got high and low. It's all-time 4-wheel drive. The fuel tank also is a complete custom tank that drops to the majority of the fuel almost down to the belly pan. All the weight is lower. It's about 3 inches shorter, 4 inches wider.
So what's your wheelbase now?
I was 118. I'm 115 in this car, and it was 86 wide, and this one's sitting about 90.
So yeah, you'll be a little bit more stable, and you should be able to climb better.
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels real good in the rocks. We got played a little bit Chocolate Thunder and just during the qualifying, and I was really surprised. The big difference in that SCS is just there's a lot less parasitic loss. You can tell you're getting a lot more power to the ground than I was before in the old car. Same motor, didn't really make any changes there. Just some small stuff, cams, whatnot.
All right. I'm not familiar with what the gear cut is in the SCS box.
They're straight.
They're straight cut.
Yep.
So that's what I was thinking.
And it's a quick change ratio. If you're going to run short course, you can just pop the back off the case, change 2 gears, and it's like re-gearing your car.
And here's the thing that I really like digging in on, and it was one of my first questions of you, like, who preps your car?
I prep my car alone. It's just one of those, that's my peaceful time. I spend a good week in the garage alone, wrenching on it, touching every last thing, marking every last thing, and that's just been what works for me, and found a pretty methodical system for it that I just rinse and repeat every race.
I think that's a trend that you see, guys. Your record in 2 years speaks for itself. But I think the guys out there that are able to spend the time with their car that way, when there is problems, they're Johnny on the spot with the triage.
Yeah, I mean, I just like being able to, like, I'm just anal about sounds, anything like that. Like, I'd like to know, oh, I have a Heim that's getting close to being there, because I know that squeak or the noise of a shock bolt that's not tight, because you know. If everything's rattling and clanking, it's like you're never going to know what problems are coming. So
wait, that's not normal?
Well, yeah, no, not on my car. When I do it myself, it's just kind of,
That's awesome.
I'm methodical about it, and when the car leaves, it doesn't make any noises, and I know what's coming usually.
I have no idea what that sounds like.
Yeah.
I think even when they're like completely done, perfect, brand new, they still make just obnoxious noise. I mean, this car doesn't have necessarily the clickers that you would hear in the bypasses, but so you have these internal bypass shocks, and I asked you kind of pre-interview, like, hey, how hard was this car to tune?
Yeah, well, that's a good thing about having Cade was the guinea pig on this car. He had his first, and we went down to Vegas for a few days, tuned with the Nelson, and got the car working really good. I knew I was.
And this is Cade's car. This isn't your car.
Yeah, it's Cade's car, but we were all down there working together, and we share notes and all that. We run all the same things and same shim adjustments, and two minds are better than one. I like this. This made me faster, and we kind of just bounce our ideas off of each other and take it back to this tuning sessions, and works out good. But luckily, I just got to take his notes and move it over to my car, and came out here, and it's
a winning combination.
It's on point. Yep.
Oh, I mean, just the savings right there, and just time and effort and going back and forth to already have worked out the bugs on one.
We've already decided we have to trade off who's shock tuning, because it is hard on the cars. So I'm the next one. I got to go out with mine, and then he'll get my notes. So
and fix it. All right. Yep. Well, so there is some give and some take, some yin and some
absolutely.
yang. I just figured it was going to be just all take. Like, Cade, you're the guinea pig.
No. Got to keep it fair.
Oh man. Well, he's a formidable competitor too.
He's a threat. He's good. Kid can drive. He's got a long career ahead of him. I'm really looking forward to being around and just being part of his team for a long time.
Don't let him pass you. That's the key.
No. You got to let Cade pass you. He hates running from people. So if he knows you're there.
So I don't want to talk about Cade. Let's talk about, are you a better hare or a better hound?
I love to chase.
You do love to chase. Yep. Everybody loves to chase.
Yeah, that's my thing. I don't know why, but the curse for me is setting the pole. I'd rather be second, third, top six, pick a couple people off, and just sit there and wait. I pick when my whole thing, it's just been, I can turn it on when I need to, and I try and conserve the car as best as I can. And I know when I get down to, the last quarter of the race, that's when you go
gotta
all
turn
the
it
way.
up.
Yeah. We had kind of one of those at Ridgecrest with Bailey Cole, where I'd gotten by him and I knew he was chasing me down, and I just said, all right, you're here, let him go, and just followed him to the finish and got the win.
Because you were still on corrected time.
Yep, beat him on time. But there's a lot of that in 48. You just can't beat the cars to death. They just
last year in this race, was that last year that Casey ran away with this by like 30 minutes?
Yeah, I believe so. We had a mess up in Cougar Buttes. We were going through there and fell in a hole, and it was like an hour and 15-minute recovery, and we were way back in the pack, and I think came back to sixth, so had a hell of a run back.
Yeah, I think I even turned off that race when I saw Casey was out in front by, he had like a 38-minute lead, and then Lovell was behind him by miles.
Both great drivers. Hat goes off to Casey. He's awesome out here. He's been around for a long time.
It's really cool to see the level of competition in 4,800.
Yeah.
It really is.
Everybody's really friends. If you're up there and you're one of the fastest guys, we all talk on the phone. We're all buddies. It's a good feel class.
Well, I think that's this racing community.
Absolutely.
I hadn't heard it put this way, but it was Jason Shearer putting it in the sense that the guy that really set this standard and set the bar for it was Shannon Campbell a decade ago. Mm-hmm. He's just kind of been this patriarch for the sport. That free flowing of information, and hey, I'll share whatever. It's an open book. My junk's an open book. It's free flowing information.
Yep.
because I still think I'm a better driver than you. I'm going to beat
And
you
that's
out on course.
contagious the same way. Like, I want to beat somebody at their absolute best. You know, I don't want to be in the pits or out there in some way I could have done something to help you. So,
and I think that is the other thing that's cool about Ultra4 is like, I'll give you the shirt off my back just so I can beat you on course.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Well, man, thank you so much, David, for stepping out here for a little short interview, short stint. I really appreciate you supporting the Talent Tank like you have. And when I reached out to you about this, that you were like, game on. I really wish you the best of luck on Thursday in the EMC race in your new 4800 car. I think you're doing a good job of representing your sponsors, your partners with MBRP, Dakine, and Yokohama. I mean, I know you have a bunch, but I know those guys make it the difference in you being able to race versus not race and be on the sideline, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you again for coming out.
I appreciate you. Thank you.